The more rare a breed is, the more likely you've got a project on your hands. It doesn't matter if it's an old breed or a new breed, and these Bantams are a perfect example. Now, you're looking at them and say, well, they're just white Polish, aren't they? Incorrect. They're actually Bantam white Houdens. Now, that's not something you see every day, and when I saw these, I picked them up because oftentimes I will come across random rare birds and I say, I might not have the time right now to devote to them, but I probably know somebody who does. And so oftentimes, if I see a couple like that and they look like they're decent quality, something that has potential, I'll pick them up and try and get them into the right hands. Now, why are these a project? Well, both birds are imperfect specimens of the breed. The hen, for example, has no beard at all, and that is a defining characteristic for this breed. The male does, but he has wattles, which says that he's going to produce non-bearded offspring with this hen. Why would I even bother breeding him to her then, if that seems counterproductive? Well, it's very simple. Some of his offspring will still have a partial beard, and I will be able to breed those daughters back to him and produce a generation with birds that have full beards. Now, another trait that these birds are short on is the fifth toe. The hen's got it, and it's well defined on both back toes on her feet, but the male only shows it on one foot. So there's another project that needs addressing. Also, I don't know how well you can see it, his comb is very large and closer to what they call a butterfly comb. Now, that's acceptable in Europe, but in the US it is not, so that has to be addressed also. There you go, you can get a good shot of him right there. And also right in here, in his hackle, you can see when he moves just right that he's got some black leakage. And of course, that's a fault in any white bird. But you just gotta do your research and study and find out what the appropriate standard is. And sometimes you have to go outside of the breed if they're severely lacking a trait to breed it into the birds. And that's where understanding your breeding program, your genetics, pair mating, all of that come into play. Another thing I forgot to mention, he has a little bit of blue cast to his legs. Her legs are white. I don't recall off the top of my head what the appropriate standardized leg color is for this variety, but obviously it has to go one way or the other. Now, just because a variety or a breed is a project doesn't mean it's the wrong bird for you. There's many reasons why a breed can fall out of favor. Maybe it was developed a little too late, as was the case with the Lamona, where it was great for what it did, but it just came too late and the markets wanted a different type of chicken by the time it was perfected. In this case, there's probably never been a very large following for these Bantams. Personally, I think that they're a good choice for people who want crested Bantams. The crests aren't as large as a Polish. They're a larger Bantam, which is great for youth exhibitors. It's a little easier for them to handle. White birds, it's kind of hit and miss when it comes to showing. Certain breeds, it's the pinnacle of perfection to have a white bird in that breed because they are the ones that do the best at the shows, white leghorns being an example. In other breeds, not that common, and they haven't been worked with as good, so their body type just isn't there. In the case of the Houden, you're likely to find a mottled Houden, which is the most common color, of good type than you are a white. And whites are a pain, in my opinion, to keep clean and free of off color. If you feed a lot of corn or they get a lot of direct sunlight, your males are going to develop what basically amounts to as a tan in their neck, shoulders, back, where the feathers will yellow. Any kind of staining you can see on that hen, she's got a little bit of staining on her. You're going to have a hard time getting that washed out when it comes time for show. So basically, once they molt in their new feathers, you've got to have your A game in place and keep them clean all the way through to showtime. There's another Bantam variety that I'm working with that I just got into in the last couple of years, the Bantam Andalusian. And there again, it's not something you see every day. A larger Bantam, straight combed, white ear lobed, and they have their faults. I just went through the young chicks that I hatched out this past year, and while there's some promise in them, there's also a lot of problems. They have sprigs on the back of their comb. That's not good for a straight comb bird. They are showing gold leakage in the hackles of the males. The lacing, the signature black edging on the feathers of this breed, it's just not there right now. So I've got a long way to go with them, but I am hopeful. Now, blue is a very popular color, so you'd think, well, why don't you see them? There again, small following, straight comb breed. Straight comb birds, you have a lot of problems with frostbite, so that kind of limits the region of people who are interested. And it's a breed that you do not dub, so you can't get a workaround for that. And there's solid blue Old English, and Old English is significantly more popular than Andalusian Bantams. So that's one of those situations where they just kind of lost out due to there being a similar bird. Little backstory, I have messed with a lot of colors of Polish over the years, and at one time I was working with bearded self-black and non-bearded self-black. I chose to discontinue them because I felt that they would outcompete some already rare breeds. One of the breeds is the Crevecoeur, which is a French breed related to the Houdin. It is solid black, crested, and bearded. The main difference, aside from body type, to a Polish is that it has red earlobes as opposed to white. And on a bearded bird, you're not going to see those anyways, you know, or at least you shouldn't if the beard's nice and full. So I chose to quit breeding them solely on the grounds that it would give a little bit more of a chance to the Crevecoeur. And the non-bearded blacks, I quit breeding them because there's another French breed whose name I can't recall at this time, but it is essentially a non-bearded self-black of Polish type with white earlobes. So why have two of the same exact thing? I hope this gives a little insight into what you're getting into if you're considering a rare breed or a rare variety. And I just want to say it's going to be a struggle sometimes for you, but don't give up. You know, the rewards are worth it. So if you like our videos, please subscribe and share. Thank you.